As an estimated 30% of the coronavirus cases in India are linked back to the Tablighi Jamaat congregation that took place in Nizamuddin, in India's capital, a debate has been wrenched open over where Maulana Saad exactly is. The Tablighi Jamaat insists that the leader of the Jamaat is not in hiding, he's in self-quarantine. But there are now formal criminal cases against the leader of the Tablighi Jamaat, including a money laundering case. He continues to release audio messages asking his followers to come forward, not just volunteer information, but also donate blood plasma to help others. But why is he releasing these audio messages instead of coming out and facing people? And while it is wrong to use the Tablighi Jamaat's complete, and I would say criminal mistake in holding that congregation to smear Indian Muslims, what about the sense of responsibility that the Tablighi Jamaat owes to the community itself? Has it not let down Indian Muslims and Indians in general? Let's introduce now on the program Fuzail Ayubi. Fuzail Ayubi is a lawyer and a spokesperson for the Tablighi Jamaat. And we're also joined on the program by Irfan Habib, who's a well-known historian and commentator. I'll start with you, Habib Saab, if I may, and then I'll come to Mr. Ayubi. Yeah. I know that you've been very angry, you've been very agitated, and you have in fact come forward and called the Tablighi Jamaat an enemy of Islam. What made you this angry? We do, of course, know about the congregation that has now caused 30% of the cases.
You see, for me, my anger was simply based on the irresponsible behavior, because the whole idea of organizing something like this at such a scale and inviting people from countries which were already infested with the terrible virus, Malaysia, China, and Indonesia, etc. So people like him should have been more responsible. I know the government should have come forward to say no. Government didn't do that. So that actually brings in so many other issues. But Tablighi Jamaat itself should not have initiated something like this. And they should know that the world is Islamophobic today, not India alone, all over the world, so on so many counts. So we should not do anything as responsible citizens and as responsible leaders of respective religions to bring respective communities into this sort of mess. So this was a very avoidable, very, very avoidable issue. Could have saved Islam, its reputation, by not further getting denigrated, and saved lives, surely. So my agitation was on that count, because it was something very, very avoidable. No.
You believe, Irfan Saab, that the Tablighi Jamaat's, and I want to say that the Tablighi Jamaat's leadership, because there were many people attending that congregation without knowledge of maybe the to them. You believe that the Tablighi Jamaat's leadership has damaged both the image of Islam as well as, of course.
Of course. I don't hold actually the people responsible, because people are very gullible, and they are as gullible as any other follower of any other religion. You have Asaram Bapu still holding fort actually in his ashram, despite being in jail. So people do that, in all faiths, because this is something which is unavoidable, and the only thing is the leadership should be responsible, should try to understand what they need to do, how they need to go forward to expand their whatever faith they believe in. Because Tablighi Jamaat is also not representing Muslims. It's a sectarian body which represents a small section of Muslims. So the whole community has nothing to do with Tablighi Jamaat. Then Tablighi Jamaat itself is split into two. One is a group led by Maulvi Saad, another group is led by somebody else. So on that count, they are actually not speaking or doing anything on behalf of the Muslims of the country or the world. No. So this claim is also bogus.
The repercussions are felt by the entire community.
Yeah, of course.
Represent the community. Now, I want to bring in Fuzail Ayubi into this conversation. Mr. Ayubi, here are the facts. The facts are, one, that you can say that the Delhi police shares a wall, a shoulder as it were, with the Markaz, and I am aware of that as a Delhiite, and that the police should have stopped the congregation when it was happening, and I would agree. You can say that the visas for foreigners should have been suspended earlier, considering we know that the congregation of the Jamaat in Malaysia caused huge damage in terms of the virus spread across Southeast Asia. But that does not take away from what the Jamaat did itself between the 13th to 15th of March, holding that congregation when the Delhi government had a very clear directive out at that time that no more than 200 people should be allowed to gather at one place. Surely a beginning would be to accept your mistake, to express regret, to express remorse, to come forth and acknowledge and take responsibility for what has happened.
You see, first and foremost, if I may go and say that only yesterday, and which has been reported even by ANI and other mainstream media organizations, which is that Maulana Sahab yesterday issued a formal letter to this effect that it has come to the knowledge that the plasma transfer and donation of blood has a bearing as far as recovery of the COVID patients is concerned, and he has asked all his followers who have tested positive and thereafter been quarantined and then they were tested negative and are hale and healthy to come forward and donate that and participate in that. So that's a development of yesterday. Before that, 3 days back, he always used to convey a message as far as Ramzan is concerned. And in Ramzan, he said very categorically, and in Ramzan, you know, and everybody knows that the Muslim love to go to spend time in the masjid, and it's a very holy month. And in that, he has given out precautions, and he has said that offer all your namaz at home. Don't invite anybody at home. Offer Taraweeh and everything at home. Follow the instructions wherever you are and wherever. That is what I'm trying to tell you, that this is when you say that the sense of responsibility, this is the sense of responsibility that yesterday this has been said. Before that, it has been said that as far as Ramzan is concerned, and then before that he said that that please come forward and get yourself examined. Don't hide, don't run away, and go to the authorities, get yourself examined. Now, if you look at this conduct, and then you look at the conduct, what is being alleged in the media and everywhere, don't you think that there is a difference? There's a huge difference in that.
Let me tell you why. As a ferocious Indian secularist, let me tell you why I am so angry with the Tablighi Jamaat. And I say this as a ferocious Indian secularist, or at least as a ferocious Indian pluralist, because I prefer that word. Where is Maulana Sahib? Why is he hiding and releasing audio messages while followers of the Jamaat are bearing the brunt of the stigma and the bigotry backlash? Where is the leader who chose to hold this congregation? Why is he not coming out and facing people? One. Second, let me complete the question. Second. Should he not have come out and said, I made a mistake. It was a misjudgment to hold a congregation. Others also made mistakes, but for the mistake I made, I take responsibility. I take that responsibility and I'm ready to face the repercussions. Mr. Ayubi.
May I say this?
Yes.
That whether in this country, if you have an FIR against you, it is required that the next day you go to the media and say that I am here before you?
It's been many days. It's not yesterday. It's not day before. And it's not the FIR. He owes it to his people who followed him. He owes it to his people who are ill today because of that congregation.
As far as he owes it to them, he said that it's a very unfortunate situation. And the entire community, entire humanity, entire world is facing this unfortunate situation. Some are less unfortunate, some are more unfortunate, but there is no one who is not unfortunate in this situation. As soon as this thing was clear by way of a Janata curfew, because all prohibitory orders, everything in fact got merged on the day when Janata curfew was announced. As soon as the Janata curfew was announced, thereafter the entire proceedings and everything was discontinued on 23rd morning. There is a letter, and thereafter what we did, that whoever was there was asked to leave. And then
Mr. Yubi, I am aware of these, and I want to bring in Irfan Habib in just a second. I am aware of this, but for our viewers who are not, this is the sequence of events. The congregation at the Markaz takes place between the 13th and the 15th of March. By this time, the Delhi government has a directive that no more than 200 people should be allowed to gather.
No.
One minute. We can ask, and we have asked, police ne kyun nahi roka? Kyun nahi roka?
No.
Continue to ask that. But you were aware of a Delhi government directive by then. Secondly, it is common sense कि आप हजारों की तादाद में लोग उस समय ना इकट्ठा करिए. Thirdly, there is a sermon which we have all heard where people can be heard खांसी कर रहे हैं वो in the background. They are coughing. And the Maulana is saying that if you have to die, there is no better place than a masjid to come and die. Now, I want you to think about these 3 points while I get Mr. Irfan Habib in. Mr. Habib, you have heard the representative of the Jamaat. What would you say to him?
I just want to what Yubi just said, that Tablighi Jamaat is behaving responsibly, and their leaders are asking people to cooperate and all that. I'm not talking of the responsibility now. I'm talking of the responsibility at the time of the congregation, whether it should have been organized at all, or now you have put the country in a mess. You have put the community in the mess. Tablighi Jamaat itself is in a mess. So now there is no option left. You have to. The point is, the whole thing should not have been organized at all. They should have been responsible. They should have known that so many thousand people in one place at a time like this should have been avoided. And that also inviting people from China, from Malaysia, I just believe, how can any responsible person do that? Because Islam doesn't allow you to put the believer's life in danger, even if you go by Islam. No? On that count also, it was wrong. As a scholar, he shouldn't have done it. I'm a lay person. I'm not a great scholar of Islam. But he, being a scholar of Islam, who talks on behalf of Islam, should have known that Islam prohibits putting the believer's life. So that on that count, the whole thing should have been avoided. No, at the most, you could have invited people from India, 1,000, 2,000 people. Okay, if you had to do it, but nobody from outside, because Corona is imported into India. It was not Indian problem. No, so when people came with disease, obviously it led to huge problems all over.
So let me get Mr. Ayubi in this. Mr. Ayubi, you talk about now, the responsibility you're taking now. Irfan Habib Saab says, पहले क्यों नहीं भूल आपके responsibility, आपने ये जिम्मेदारी दिखाई. सवाल 1. मेरा सवाल अभी भी यही है कि ये जो एक तो मौलाना साहब है कहाँ? Why are we not seeing him? Why are we only hearing from him in these proxy audio messages? Question 1. Question 2, I know what happened after the 23rd, that you all went to the local police station. At that time, you said you need to get foreigners out. I think the police has answers to give. And we will ask the police, and we have been asking the police. But now I'm asking you, where is Maulana Saad? Does he feel that a huge, horrible, criminal mistake was made by the leadership of the Jamaat? And three, my question remains, what was that sermon he was giving where वो क्या बयान दे रहे थे जिसमें उन्होंने कहा कि अगर आप मरना ही है तो there is no better place than a masjid to come and die in, and you can hear people coughing in the background. ये क्या है? ये क्या आप कोरोना के टाइम में ये बयान कैसे दिया जा सकता है? कभी भी कैसे दिया जा सकता है? Firstly, I mean, I don't the fatalism of if you want to die, please come to so-and-so place to die. I want leaders to say, if you are thinking you're going to die, please go and see a doctor.
First thing, that as far as the Delhi government's order is concerned, please see, that is of 13th of March. It is regarding sports and conferences and other activities. It does not mention anything about religious activities.
It says no more than 200 people, sir, very clearly. No gatherings of more than 200 people.
May you allow me to complete? On 13, it says that there is a cap of 200 people, and it directs itself as far as those events are concerned, which is of non-religious nature. For this reason, that on 16, they come out with a revised this thing, and in the revised one, they add that also religious congregations and events and proceedings, whatever, should also be are also included. And so on 16, that is being included for the first time. Now, this is the position as far as law is concerned. Now, the second aspect of it is this. I think that is, please objectively think about it. The knowledge that we have today about this issue of COVID, the way we are now behaving after a month, why are people still, police is enforcing this curfew and some people are still not understanding? It's for this reason that they are not able to understand the implications.
So you are not able to understand. But by
nobody,
February,
may I say this?
May I say that by February, I read in the New York Times that the congregation of the Tablighi Jamaat that took place in Malaysia spread the virus across 6 Southeast Asian countries. Your congregation took place on the 13th of March, inviting people from these COVID-impacted countries. Was it not common sense to not have these people at the congregation? If you were calling people from within India, I could still understand that you didn't understand the full import. Mr. Habib, you want to add to that? And then we'll get Mr. Ayubi to respond. Let Mr. Habib just add to that. Irfan sir.
What you just said, the leadership of the Tablighi Jamaat must have been aware of what happened in Malaysia. I don't blame the people who came there, because nobody gets information from outside the world. But leadership should have known that Tablighi Jamaat gathering in Malaysia led to this sort of tragedy. So on that count, again responsibility comes. If you had known what has happened in Malaysia, all the more reason for you to actually keep away.
Yeah.
No? And you didn't.
No? May I answer?
Mr. Ayubi, yes.
You see, please record it, and I say it with complete responsibility, is on record, that there was no invitation given to anybody in Feb, January or March to come.
It was given, but it should have been withdrawn.
It was something which was decided a year back, and now,
Mr.
of course,
Makkah,
it was being dissuaded.
Mr. Ayubi, Makkah and Medina closed their mosques. Who cares if the invites were given earlier? Cancellation bhi koi cheez hoti hai. Cancellation and all the things which could be done were done. But first and foremost thing is to understand that nobody invited. In Malaysia, how were they there? How were people from COVID impacted countries at this congregation? You can.
Actually, they cannot. Nobody can come.
हम सरकार से भी पूछते हैं कि वीजा पहले क्यों नहीं सस्पेंड हुए? हम पुलिस.
These people, nobody can come into India. Nobody can get visa without invitation. You have to submit your documents when you go for visa. So they should have actually. They must have had some invitation of sorts. No, on which basis Indian embassies get them visas.
He's saying the invitation was given much earlier. I am saying
no invitation was given. I am saying no invitation was given.
How did they come then, Mr. Ayubi? How did they come?
It is something that you have to ask from them.
What do you mean? How?
I mean to say, if you allow me to say, I mean to say that it is, of course, what you say is right, that it is no common sense that you invite people in February and March from places which are now being found to be infected, and then you have a congregation like this. I say that there was nothing which was done in this year. Everything was done prior to this year. Secondly, as soon as we have this knowledge, we discontinued the proceedings, at whatever stage they were. Now, the second thing which you said, that as far as where is Maulana Saad, I say that whether in this country, if a religious leader or a person of any stature, if his name comes in an FIR, so he has to go public and he has to come to media and tell that, look, I'm here.
Yes.
Second supplementary thing with this I want to add is this, that is there any section where...
Mr. Ayubi, I'll interrupt you and you ask me a question. That in this country, if there is a charge against someone and they're not visible, do we in the media say, why don't they come forward? Yes, we do. We say it about businessmen on the run. We say it about other spiritual leaders on the run. We have said it about everybody, and we will say it about Maulana Saad. And you still haven't answered my question. Where is he? One. Secondly, what was that sermon? If you must die, then come and die in a mosque. I'm still waiting for that answer. You can hear people coughing in the background.
please say that as far as this particular FIR is concerned, have you seen that FIR?
I have seen the 26 questions by the crime branch to the Maulana. And one of the questions is, did you specifically seek police permission to hold this congregation? I don't know what answer you gave. I also don't know what Maulana Saad said to the National Security Advisor when he dropped by for a visit. If you can shed some light on both of these issues.
I can, if you allow me 60 seconds.
Okay.
First thing, that as far as this FIR is concerned, there is no section which is non-bailable. These are bailable sections. And secondly, as far as the FIR was concerned, information, as you said, that you have seen that information was sought. Therefore, I was in touch with the authorities, and those information which were being sought from me were being given to them. Thirdly, they asked us that, okay, you are in a quarantine period, please get yourself self-tested. We get our self-tested, report is awaited. Now, as far as the procedure under the law is concerned, we are cooperating, we are with them. As far as my visibility on the media is concerned, barring that photo, do you have any other visibility of Maulana Saad with you, any photo or any video before that? So he is not in the habit, he is not in the practice. The entire movement does not, and you may like it, or I may like it, I may not like it. But then it is a situation like this that wherein they do not interact with media, and they have not interacted with the media previously.
What is religious beliefs, frankly? When he believes that his visual should be on video, right now, this is, I mean, Irfan Sahab, I'll let you respond to this.
You see what Mr. Ayubi is saying right now. You see, I know that Tablighi Jamaat claims to be apolitical. They are almost secretive. They don't really come out and speak anything in public. But the situation now is very, very different. They should actually, I don't think they ever got into this sort of tragic situation earlier in their lives. No? So they should change their strategy, and they should come forward to actually cooperate and save the lives of their own followers and other Indian nation. Second, I don't want to go into the philosophy and the Islam which they espouse, because that's a different issue. But I may tell you, you are raising this issue again and again, that die here in the mosque, So don't fear. That is the best death you can ever imagine. Tablighi Jamaat actually begins with grave and ends with afterlife. They are not concerned with your present world. That is their philosophy. And I don't want to go into details, but that will take your discussion to a different level altogether. That is the Islam they espouse, unfortunately. No, they are more concerned about grave and more concerned about afterlife. What you are doing at the present is just sunnat. Follow what the Prophet lived, about which nobody has any idea. You just assume the Prophet looked like this, he dressed like this, he shaved his upper lip. No, these are the things which Tablighi Jamaat talks about. There is no literature of any consequence which they produce, except for Tablighi Nisab, a book which is there for years. So these are issues which are different, but that actually produces a huge mindset in the followers, which is like a herd mentality. It's a cattle. You just drive them anywhere, because you don't make them to actually think on their own. No, and this is not just Tablighi Jamaat. There are so many other organizations like this doing all over the world, where they don't allow their people to think, because then the control, the grip over the people actually disappears.
Yeah. Mr. Ayubi, I'm going to be very sharp in my questions. I'd appreciate specific answers. Is Maulana Saad not coming forth to talking to people because you don't believe in putting his face on camera? Is that the reason? What is the reason?
Yes, he will. And that is what I was saying. That there are 4 councils that he has appointed so far as this case is concerned. I am one of them.
So you will speak on his behalf. He will not face the people. You will face the people.
If you have the question and the answer as well, then I don't have much to say. If I can answer for myself and for him as well.
दूसरा सवाल वो जो
पहला सवाल ही आपने पूरा ही नहीं होने दिया ना. पहला सवाल तो होने दीजिए आप.
Speak for him. He will not come and speak on camera because your religious belief doesn't allow that. You have answered that. My second question, I don't think that's okay. I think for what he has done, he needs to come forward and talk to at least the people who follow him, and not through these secretive audio messages. But you have taken a position on that. I don't agree with it. My second question. What was that sermon asking people to come and die in the mosque?
See, that is, and what is the letter that he wrote yesterday to the people to donate plasma? And what do you say on that?
That it's belated wisdom, and I wish he had said on the first day from the mosque, कि please doctor पे जाइए, अगर खांसी है तो कोरोना का टेस्ट कराइए. If he didn't know about corona, then to doctor को मिलके आइए. That's what I wish he would say.
Please, that is what I am saying. If you have a duty to take care and you know what you have to take care, only then you will take care. And you can't be responsible for something negligent if you don't know what you have to take care. The world over, the country is one of the most advanced. They were not able to calculate this. They were not able to come to terms with this pandemic. Many medical institutions of the world were not able to come to terms with this situation. Do you expect that a Dharm Guru who is there, he will be able to comprehend and why he has not been able to have that prudence and foresight which the others have?
Two questions. Was that sermon asking people to come and die in the mosque a mistake? And was it a mistake to hold the congregation? With the benefit of hindsight.
No.
You made.
Both. Answer to both is no. And if I'm...
It was a mistake that you held the congregation. You don't think it was a mistake to tell people to come and die in the mosque?
If you know that this is something which is going so contagious, and this is a particular manner in which it spreads, will you do it? You will of course not do it. That's what he has said as far as social distancing and everything was concerned in the very first press release, which was on the very first press release.
Saying we made a mistake. We did not have enough knowledge of this pandemic. We made a grave mistake. Surely we should be hearing.
See, it's if you say who has suffered the most in this? Who has suffered the most? These people who were in the Jamaat, they suffered a lot. They are still in quarantine in Delhi. 14 days have passed, 21 days have passed, they are still in quarantine. They were being searched and found out in every state of this country. The foreigners who came in Jamaat are in jail. There are FIRs filed against them and their passports are being confiscated. Who has suffered most in this? It is his followers who have suffered the most in this.
Why he owes this to his people? Let me bring it. Mr. Habib.
Because whatever UB Saab is saying, it's all of him. No, what we are saying again and again. We should have been more responsible. We should have known the consequences. If you say that people didn't know about corona, all that is like we all know that it's a new disease. So obviously we didn't know. Yes. Many of us didn't know. But the point is that there were news items. So many papers were writing about corona and the hazards all over the world. No, if not in India, in Malaysia, in China, in Indonesia, in other parts of the world. It has reached Europe also, Italy. So all that we were reading in the papers. So if you read in the papers and you read the consequences of this coronavirus, then that should have alerted you. That's what we are saying. And the only thing which, Barkha, you have raised again and again is come forward and say, sorry, we shouldn't have done it. There is something wrong, we have done it. That is a modesty. That is a minimum he can do to the country and to the people, to his own followers. At least this much they owe. The suffering, I understand. They are suffering. There are other people also suffering of them, because what happened in Delhi actually has led to the surge, for which partly they are also responsible. Not that wholly they are responsible. But the point is, they have the life of Muslims generally in peril, and they have put actually Islam in disgrace. And the sort of atmosphere world over. People look for opportunity to just abuse. So avoid it. Should have avoided it very, very easily.
Mr. Yogi, important. Yeah. May I just, one thing is that I feel like you have betrayed Indian Muslims who do not even follow you. Not that they are answerable for decisions that the Jamaat takes. I feel I'm very clear on this. I'm very clear on this that Muslims cannot be smeared and slandered. The kind of language we've seen used by certain trolls is hideous. This cannot become an excuse for politics. We are not in the Hindu-Muslim issue of this, but you have endangered lives. When I say you, I mean the management of the Jamaat, including your followers. You have endangered the lives of your own followers. And I want to hear you at least express the realization of that.
No, see, you at least hear me. The first thing is that you are talking about the consequences and the fallout. That these are the consequences, these are the fallout, you have disgraced them. You are not looking and objectively seeing the reasons why this happened. I don't know why. And everybody around the media and the entire world is about the consequences. Why don't you see why are the reasons? What are the reasons? Now, let me, if I can have my 30 seconds, is that when the Janata curfew took place on 22nd, that was the day the entire country's in everything merged into that, in the sense that all prohibitory orders, precautions and everything was made known to each and every person of this country. On 22nd, when Janata curfew took place, so people realized that yes, this is something so serious that the entire country for the first time in its history was closing down. Thereafter, immediately thereafter, no, please allow me. On thereafter, immediately on 23rd, it is on record that we said that we have discontinued everything as soon as we got to know that yes, this is it.
Okay.
Thereafter, every day, police and the local authorities visited Markaz. Every cooperation was being extended. There were no proceedings thereafter on 23rd. There was a complete cooperation. Now, second question that you have, that as far as that particular sermon is concerned, you have to see, and I think that you are the best person to appreciate that in the entire conversation, if you pick out one sentence and you play that one sentence and you say that this is the sentence, is it fair to do that? If you look at the very next, in the very next 3 minutes of that audio, he says that if a situation wherein requires you should cooperate with the authorities and present yourself a medical checkup and medical aid should be taken at the earliest. He says in the same audio. But this is a view that if he says, or for the purpose of any religious leader says that I will be the best person if I am a Christian, I want to die in a church in peace. Or if I will be the best person who dies in a mandir in peace, I will be the best person who will die in a masjid in peace. This is it.
एक बात बोलूं सर, ये मंदिर होता, ये church होता, ये गुरुद्वारा होता, या ये मस्जिद होती, if this was said, I'd have the same objection. I think that my work speaks enough to not brand me Islamophobic. If anything, I am often accused of being a sort of minority apologist by the right wing. So you know whom you're talking to. My politics are very plural. This has nothing to do with targeting Islam. This, in fact, is to do with being angry that Islam is being targeted and people who have nothing to do with the Jamaat today are having to answer because of what has happened. Now, I have a final question to you and then I'll give the last word to Irfan Habib. The National Security Advisor met with Maulana Saad. Can you tell us a little bit about why that meeting came to be and what was discussed in that meeting?
And may I know how you know that he met him?
It is in public domain. Are you denying it? If that information is wrong, please correct us.
See, this is something which is in the media, and everything in the media, we are not responding to everything in the media. We are only responding to the facts as to what has taken place.
There was a photograph.
Yeah.
No, there is no photograph, sir.
I saw in the press.
I think it was a
I saw in the press somewhere.
No, sir. There is no photograph. Please check and confirm.
Are you saying the meeting didn't take place?
Of course, I'm saying that there is no such meeting which has taken place at the Markaz.
No. Did the National Security Advisor reach out to Maulana Saad and have a conversation at the Markaz or somewhere else?
Oh, I think you can. Then in that case, you can ask the NSA. Why are you asking me? He will give you a clear.
Who's denied it? The NSA has not denied it. Many media reports came. The NSA didn't issue any statement saying it was untrue.
So I think we leave it at that.
Sir, did it happen or not, the meeting?
I say that we leave it at that. If you ask him, because this is, as far as we are concerned,
no.
As far as we are concerned, there is no such meeting.
No conversation? Did a conversation?
Yes, as far as of course.
No. Did a conversation take place between the NSA and the Maulana?
That is something that you can't say that whether there was a conversation or there is a meeting. I'm saying there was nothing like this. There is nothing like this. You can take this. There's nothing like this.
बात नहीं हुई, मुलाकात नहीं हुई, बात भी नहीं हुई.
Of course.
You are denying flatly any contact between the NSA and the Maulana.
I'm saying something that this is absolutely not in my knowledge. This is in public domain. This is in the media.
It's not the same as hui ki nahi hui.
Pardon me?
Not in your knowledge is not the same as it didn't take place.
Yes. I'm saying that as far as we are concerned, it is not in my knowledge that has taken place. But as far as media is concerned, we are of course saying that everything in media, we are not denying, we are not replying, even we are not replied to what Irfan Saab has said or what you have said. I am confining myself only as to the reasons and as to the facts of the case involved.
Bring charge. Mr. Ayubi, very quickly, I'm out of time, and then Irfan Habib has to get the last word. Two short questions. There's a charge of money laundering now against the Tablighi Jamaat. How do you respond to that? And secondly, of the questions asked of you, one was, did you take police permission required for the congregation? These two questions.
The first thing, as like the NSA, this is also in the media that money laundering case has been registered. We have got no notice, no information, no communication from the authority. Secondly, as far as that particular thing is concerned, that as police information is concerned, if you organize something in the mosque, there is no need for a police permission. It is being done for almost 100 years. The police is there, as you have yourself have said, you have visited it. They visited, they check everything. Everything is open, transparent. It is like a cycle. It is like open to everybody. Anybody can see, walk in, and for himself to find out what is there.
Let me give the last word to Mr. Irfan Habib. So you heard Mr. Ayubi at length, and we have gone round and round in circles on some points. Of course, it is true that the police has to explain कि बिल्कुल साथ में खड़े होके कैसे होने दी congregation. Of course, it is true that with the benefit of hindsight, we can say visas पहले क्यों नहीं suspend हुए. But it remains equally true that I have not yet heard one statement from the Tablighi Jamaat that comes out and says हमसे बहुत भारी गलती हुई. And in the process, you have Muslims across India who, for this.
I'm exactly concerned exactly on the same ground as you have raised. I'm not concerned about whether permission was given or taken or whatever, or police, or whether it was at all required or not. That's a different issue. The point is, after all this, what has happened? Now, Ayub Saab says that Maulana Saad remains in hiding. He never comes into public and all that. That's okay. But today, in such a situation where the whole community, faith of which he is a great exponent, his faith is in danger of being denigrated on so many, like people are abusing, how things are happening on the social media and elsewhere. Keeping that in mind, you should actually come forward and make things straight and point out that this was something wrong. We shouldn't have done it. It has nothing to do with Islam. It's not that Islam is actually bad or Islam teaches you to put people's life at stake. No, not that. You don't have to do it. The faith doesn't really allow you to do that. So we committed that blunder. We should have understood the world, the way things were happening all around us. We didn't really do that. So on that count, we are sorry. We are sorry to our community, to our followers, and we are sorry to the country. That much one can do, because you can't do anything else now. Whatever danger, whatever damage has to be done, has been done. But the minimum thing is, at least retrieve whatever you can retrieve by coming forward and being positive, positive about your involvement in organizing it. You just can't be in denial. You can't be in denial. You just can't go on saying that we did it because we got permissions. What do you mean? You get permission to go and jump in the well, you will do it? You can't.
Yeah.
No? You should have opened your eyes.
Yes. Yeah. Irfan Habib, I completely agree with you on that last word. Fuzail Ayubi, we hope to at least see that expression of regret, remorse. It's the least I think you owe to your own followers, even if you think that you do not owe it to anybody else. Leaving it there, Fuzail Ayubi, Irfan Habib, pleasure to have you both.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.